comes to the resource, when it comes to land, when it comes to houses, when it comes to stuff that we all acquire, we all need to ask this question of ourselves. Did I take it? Did I earn it? Did I build it? Did I make it? Or did God give it? We all need to ask that question. Because here's what I've found. When I get up early and when I go to work and I spent years in school and I kind of, labor for this and I had to work for a bad boss and I had to do these things, I kind of get the feeling that I earned everything I have. You ever feel that way? I feel that way all the time. Paycheck's got my name on it. I work for it. I preached for it. I can say that. I earned that. I put time in for that. I conquered that. Some of you business owners, you started from scratch, and I built it all with my bare hands. And sometimes we get this idea, we did it. I conquered it. But can I just tell you something? The Israelites actually didn't take anything that God didn't give. Okay? Here's how we know this. Because when you follow the story, when they go into the promised land, you discover it in the first two battles that they faced. The very first battle they faced when they go into this new land was they fought against the city of what? Does anybody know? Say it out loud. The Jericho. Okay, 3 people. Hey, man, we're going to have to go back over that. So that'll be next week. Joshua chapter 6. Okay, come back next week. They went and fought this city called Jericho that was fortified. It was one of the hardest cities to tackle, and God said, go get that one first. And they fortified huge, big walls. And so if you know this story now, you're like, oh, okay, Pastor, I knew that. When God told him go in, he said, here's your strategy. Some of you know this, right? I want you to march around the walls of the city of Jericho for 7 days, right? And as soon as you get done and you're really tired and you're exhausted from walking a lot, I want you to make a big loud sound and blow the trumpets, and that'll scare them. And then I want you to scale the walls and climb over top and then jump down on top of them and get them. That's what happened, right? No, what happened? The moment they made a trumpet blast and they all shouted, the walls came tumbling. Yeah, some of you went to Sunday school. The walls came tumbling down, right? God did it. They took it. But God did it. Now here's the thing. They got kind of cocky. They're like, oh man, we're so good. Like we got this. That they saw this little town in the distance called Ai. It's literally just Ai. That's how it's spelled. Ai. And they were so little. They weren't really guarded. They didn't have walls. It's like, God, thank you for that. We got this. And so Joshua sent just a single battalion, 3,000 soldiers. I don't know if that's a battalion. But anyways, sent a group of soldiers to go and attack the town of Ai. And it should have been a cakewalk, but they got their butts handed to them. Because God wasn't with them. This is really important. I'm trying to help you to see something. Okay, God wasn't with them. He wasn't with them because they actually kept for themselves something that was devoted to God in the first city. Okay, and because of that, God did not favor them or bless them, and they got beat. Okay, so when we ask this question, and we have to ask it ourselves, when it comes to our personal, when it comes to our work, when it comes to our careers, when it comes to our jobs, when it comes to all this stuff that you have earned, and I know it's yours, and it's got your name on the deed and all that good stuff. Here's the simple truth of what we need to get, and that is this thought. Everything we possess is actually God's possession. Some of you need to write that down. I'm just going to give you a second to do that. Oh, he wants us to write it down. Yeah. Everything we possess is actually God's possession. I know it might be in your hands right now. I know you might have the keys to the house right now. I know your name might be on the title right now, but I need us to get this concept because we get it twisted. Everything we possess, in other words, everything that's in our hands is actually God's possession. Now, some of you in your mind right now, you're kicking back. You're like, no, I work for this, and I paid cash. The bank doesn't even own my house and my land. We paid it off. I got the deed. It's mine. I understand you feel that way. So let me ask us all a really important question. All the stuff you own, the money in the bank, the dirt your house is on, the car you drive. Okay. What happens to all of that when you die? I mean, it's yours. I get it. What happens to it when you die? You keep it, right? Your stuff is, I'll tell you what, man, when they put me in that casket, I'm going to say, give me as much of that dirt as I can fit into the casket. Because I own that. That's my dirt. What happens to all this stuff that you say is mine? Mine. When you die, it goes to somebody else. No, I want to keep it. Too bad. See, this is something that Solomon, King Solomon, one of the wisest and wealthiest people to ever live on the planet, okay? This was something he discovered after spending his entire life trying to accumulate mass wealth. He writes about it in Ecclesiastes. You know what he said? He said, this is meaningless. I spent my whole life working to earn this, and now it goes to somebody else who didn't do anything to earn it. And here's the reality. You and I don't own it. We don't own it. I know we think we do, but we don't. It goes to someone else. We pass it on. Hey, you might get to pick who you get to give it to. That's great, but you don't get to keep it. And somebody who didn't work as hard as you and didn't do all that stuff, they get it, right? It's called an inheritance. Inheritance is bittersweet. Somebody you love died, but you get what they had. It's bittersweet, right? See, I want us to get this principle because I think sometimes when it comes to the soil that our house is built on and the resource that we have, we think that it's all ours. So I brought something to maybe help us to see this a little bit. See, we all probably have some dirt. You know, you might rent some dirt right now. You might not own dirt like some other people do, but we all have some dirt, right? We all have some soil. We all have got. I got a house, and by the way, when we bought our lot that we built our house on, we paid it off. So it's ours, right? So this is my dirt. My dirt. Not. Okay, it's not particularly from my house, but this is. You understand the point, right? This is my dirt, and then we have other things that we have, which is seed. Okay. Because in order to produce something, you got to put something in the dirt, and right? And so we've got seed. Now, here's the thing about seed. When you think about seed, seed is not something that I created, but it could be something that I have, right? And you need seed and you need soil if you're going to produce something. You need both of these. Here's what's interesting about the seed and the soil, right? What's interesting about the seed and the soil is that I didn't make any of this. Now, I could plant a garden, and I can grow some food that I can survive and live on, and I can have property that I can build a shelter on, and I can say this is mine. But the truth is, I actually didn't make this. I don't know how to make dirt. I don't know that you can make more dirt, right? I don't know how to make seed. We can't make seed. I mean, we might be able to genetically engineer some kind of fabricate seed, but all we're doing is trying to model it off of something that God already created. And by the way, there's so much potential in the seed, right? Because you put this inside of this, all the stuff that I know some of you are going, I don't do anything with seed. I go to work and I put my time in and they give me a paycheck. Can I tell you that's your seed? Okay, you may not put it in the ground. You might go and you might process somebody else's stuff, but somebody pays you because it's your seed. That's what I'm talking about, right? And so here's what God told him. He said, when you go into this land and you harvest a crop, he said, I want you to take the first fruits of the crop, okay? So here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna have seed and you're gonna have soil. And he said, I want you to take the first fruits of the crop, and I want you to put it in a basket and give it to me. That's what God said. And here's something I think that God wanted them to understand. Here's a truth that God wanted to teach them, okay? And I think he wants to teach us. I don't own the seed. I don't own the soil. And I don't produce the fruit. It all belongs to God, right? Psalm 24, verse 1 says, the earth is the Lord's and everything in it. Everything that you and I have an opportunity to possess in our hands, it actually belongs to our Creator. We're playing in his sandbox. And he said, when you get to enjoy the fruit of your labor, I want you to pause and remember that it's because of me that you get to enjoy this, right? Now, I hope you know that when I talk about the seed, and say, in the soil, this isn't ours. this isn't ours, then what does that make us? Can I give you another thought? Is this, we are just the steward of the seed. You and I, we just steward the seed. When I talk about seed, I hope you understand that everything that you and I have comes from seed. You were made because of seed. I thought we were talking about money, not sex. Yeah, okay. But you and I need you to see this. Okay, everything about who you are, your personality, your strength, your intellect, and all that. Do you know that a lot of that can be traced back to something that was inherited that you didn't actually earn? You know that? Remember inheritance? God said, I'm giving you this land as an inheritance. What's an inheritance? I didn't earn it. Someone gave it to me. Can I just say something about you? Because some of you are so successful and you've been great at business, or maybe you're great with your hands and then you started your own business, plumbing, doing ironwork, doing whatever. You're so good at that. Some of you are really intelligent. Like, you're so smart and you do great at math and you went into engineering and you're killing it and now you're making six figures and doing all this good stuff. And you're like, yeah, man, I'm doing pretty good for myself. Can I tell you, all of that is the result of inheriting seed that you had nothing to do with. You understand that, right? You understand what I'm saying? Okay, that's why you notice this. Remember when you were in school and then there would be like these kids that would be in class and they were so stupid smart, okay? And it's like they were brilliant at math and you were like, I work just as hard as she does. I heard that, and it just comes so easy. You ever know anybody like that? Numbers come so easy to them. Or I remember this in art class. There were those like ones that were really good, and I'm drawing stick figures, passing with a D, and they're over creating these masterpieces over here. And you go, what? That's not fair. They haven't had years of experience on me. We're all young, but they have a natural ability. Where did that come from? It was seed that was inherited. And so some of us get a tendency when we get successful to think, I did this. I worked really hard for this. You may have, because we participate with God, but without that seed, you won't produce anything of great value.